Welcome back, folks. This is another one of those crossover episodes of RGR Football, and you'll hear it on the Locked On Chiefs podcast as well. And Regan Creswell is back. How are you, Regan?
I'm good. How are you, Ryan?
I'm excited. It's finally almost Christmas, and I'm almost done shopping. Almost, anyway. Folks, if you don't know, the Raygun84 is on Twitter, and that's where Regan's at, and you can follow him. He does the film work at ChiefsDigest.com and has been working with Locked On Chiefs for quite a long time. I'm glad you're here, and anytime we get a chance to talk, it's great because you see a whole lot of things that I don't, thanks to your Scouting Academy background. I want to start off with the thing that I'm most intrigued by, and that's the dynamic of Nagy's evolution, if you want to call it, of the Reed offense and what he's taken to Chicago. What stands out to you?
You know, I'm really not sure if it's Trubisky that's holding him back, but it seems like Nagy is running like the store brand version of Andy Reid's offense. It's really watered down. It's really plain, really vanilla. He still does some of the motion concepts, but for the most part, there's not a whole lot of flash to it, and it's a lot of short passes. Let's get the ball out and let Trubisky go.
You know, and that's my biggest thing about if you're going to try to emulate any of the West Coast, but especially one of the gurus like Reed, you got to take their concepts with you. And levels is always something that's in the Reed offense. And if you're just going to either not have a quarterback that can complete at least medium range passes, or you're not going to allow him the time to get there, and he's got to be in that, 8-yard and in range, it defeats a lot of the concepts that offense is based on.
It really does. And I'm not sure if it's Trubisky that can't complete it or if he's just not patient enough to get to it. Okay. But it seems like he kind of runs through his progressions real fast and then either panics and runs or just dumps it off real short to someone, a little check down route that he has, or tries to throw it way across the field to somebody on the backside, just trying to show off his arm a little bit, I guess.
Well, we're going to have to get into that in a minute. But before we go there, though, in terms of him tucking and running, he's a pretty good athlete, too. And I think that gets missed a lot in the national conversation about him. But he is a threat with his legs, isn't he?
I'm actually more afraid of his legs than I am his arm. Not to cut him down, but it just seems like he doesn't make a ton of great decisions with the football, especially when he doesn't know exactly what he's looking at. So I think he hurts teams more with his legs.
Okay, and that makes perfect sense to me. So from that concept, is it pre-snap reads that he has trouble with? Is he just too easily confused by what he's seeing before the ball snapped?
I think when you get a lot of defenders moving around, I don't think he fully grasps what he's looking at. And then on top of that, his receivers are all pretty young, with the exception of Allen Robinson. And so Allen Robinson's having to tell the other guys what to do. And so I think they just had to dumb everything down, and it's so simple.
That's not a sight read when you have to communicate it to the other guys. Okay. And so my expectation then, of course, would be as Spags and the staff see this, that they're just going to jumble everything up, move guys around. I expect to see the classic shift from cover 2 look down into a robber and the reverse, and maybe even some of those nickel corner bailouts to get Fuller back at free safety. Is that what you would do if you're the DC?
That's what I would do. I would put Tyrann Mathieu as a robber on the backside, because I feel like Trubisky, he likes to throw to the wide side of the field. I don't know what it is. It's not all the time, but anytime he's trying to hit a bigger play, it seems like he's trying to go backside on the wide side. He's trying to hit, trying to show off his arm a little bit, which he's got a decent arm. Nothing like Mahomes, but it's still pretty good. And so I feel like if you play robber on the backside, there'll be a crosser that'll run right into it, and he won't see that robber, and you can pick it off pretty easy.
So I like what you said, comparing arms. When you're in a draft class with Pat Mahomes, everything gets torqued up in terms of what you can do performance-wise versus him. Is it just trying to keep up with his draft classmate, or is he actually – sometimes I feel like he has better vision on the wide side because things open up and he's got more separation visually. Does that cue with you, or is it just about playing with Mahomes?
That could definitely that could make a lot of sense. I mean, there were 2 great quarterbacks that were drafted after him. I think Deshaun Watson's pretty good, and he kind of stole the running ability from Deshaun Watson a little bit. So I'm not sure if he's trying to keep up with those guys as much as he's just trying to find something that works for him. Yeah. And maybe it's stealing a little bit from those two and trying to like molded into his game, and he sees that it works for them. He says, "Oh, well, I can do that too."
Hey, I'm still here. I'll run too. Well, and for Nagy, it's got to be part of, hey, let's take advantage of what he has as an athlete. But he's got other athletes. And the thing that I've been impressed with, or I've been concerned with, is that I haven't been that impressed with the run game. I like Montgomery. A lot of people were really high on him coming out. But I just don't see him making a big difference in the run game to help Trubisky.
Yeah, I don't feel like their offensive line is really opening up a lot of holes for the run game. And it just doesn't seem like Montgomery has the speed to get to the outside.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's hard when you're not getting a lot of open lanes on the inside and then you can't get to the outside. So they're just kind of bogged down right now. And then some of their more effective run plays are actually the zone reads whenever Trubisky keeps it and goes.
Okay, that makes sense. And I have to think that it's funny when you draw the parallels between these two teams, and it's not just that the coach is there, but I think the difference in the offensive lines is the guards are a little bit suspect on both teams, but I think they're worse in Chicago. I think the advantage they have, though, and you tell me, is that I feel that their center is markedly better. Cody Whitehair, who's third year now, is dramatically better than we see with Reeder on the Chiefs offense. But if you have two guys next to you that can't really get it done, it's hard to run inside.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Whitehair is really good. I think he's the best offensive lineman they have, but both of their guards are going to get manhandled by Chris Jones. There's no way around that. And then I think you can even put Colin Saunders or somebody over him, and he can beat him with his quickness and his power. So I would definitely attack their guards any chance you get.
Okay. So of the two, who do you think is the more susceptible that maybe you could go with Saunders on and let Jones attack the better?
I think that James Daniels is probably the worst of the two, but neither one of them played really good. Like they both struggled against the Packers pretty bad.
Okay. So if you're you, are you bothering to run stunts, or are you just sending them trying to jump gaps and just get their shoulders turned?
I think I would just try to send them and jump gaps. I felt like I didn't really see them not picking up stunts very well. So I think that if you just make them move, they're not that great at moving. They don't stay with their blocks very long. So if you can get on the move quick, slant your D line maybe, I think they'll have a hard time with that.
So do you think a full slant rather than twist is the way to go, especially when you have a backup right tackle playing?
Yeah, I think so.
And Bobby Massey's the guy that's out, right? I don't know who's playing for him.
It is. I just had it pulled up.
I'm sure I do
too. Cornelius Lucas is playing for him.
Okay. So would you say that Leno is the better of the two tackles that the Chiefs are going to see on Sunday night?
Yeah, Leno's definitely the better of the two. Neither one of them is very bad, though. They can hold their own. Frank Clark will probably get the better of both of them at some point in the game.
Okay. Because I got to think that generally with a guy that wants to get outside and will break the pocket, that's got to be a little bit more of a concern. If the tackles are solid, playing contain's a little bit difficult. We might see Suggs some, but you're talking about Damon Harris. We're talking about Tano Passanio, guys that aren't that experienced. So that has me a little bit concerned. But in terms of where they go downfield, is it just moving the pocket for Trubisky so he can see some of those lanes? Because there are a couple of receivers that are worth throwing to, right?
There are a couple that are worth throwing to. Anthony Miller is starting to come on pretty good. He's a rookie this year, right?
I think so.
Second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
New to me. How's that?
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it's rookie or second year, but he's still fairly new. They're going to be missing Taylor Gabriel, which is a big loss. That's their Tyreek Hill of the offense.
Yep.
And then Allen Robinson's the old vet. He's still a really solid receiver, but he's more of a possession guy. He's not going to beat you over the top. And other than that, it's a lot of passes to the running back. They don't have a tight end that they try to get the ball to with any consistency.
Right.
And so it's passes to the running back, and it's Anthony Miller's been really involved lately. So I'd look for him to get another 9 to 10 targets this game.
Yeah, I agree. And he's been helping me with fantasy, so I can certainly see the progression, even though I don't watch their games. So if we flip it, then I think clearly the Chiefs have the advantage when their defense is on the field. When the offense is on the field, the Bears started out with a good defense. I feel like it's fallen off quite a bit, and I'm not sure if it's from the front or if somebody's just not coordinated, if they're doing things a little bit differently with Chuck Pagano than they're used to. Let's start at the back. I feel like their secondary is decent. I feel like their safeties in particular playing pretty well. What did you see from them?
I thought that their secondary was a pretty solid unit. They do a lot of things well. They don't do anything fantastic. Their corners, if you can get them to open up their hips, you can cut in behind them in their blind side, and they struggle to get that a little bit. In zone coverage, they're a little soft. They're going to give up the catch and then try to make the tackle afterwards. Prince Amukamara has his hamstrings hurt. Yep. So, I mean, you should definitely test that out early. Try to get Tyreek on him and run him a little bit. Tyreek's going to run by him anyway. Just because he's got a definite speed advantage there. But I also think they don't really move their corners to shadow anybody. They might do that this game with Fuller trying to match him up on Tyreek. But if you get Tyreek in the slot and match him up with Buster Screen, I think you can take advantage of that matchup a little bit.
Yeah, and Screen's got a lot of experience, but he's still not that fleet of foot either. And honestly, Fuller can't run with him. I don't even know that he's much faster than his brother Kendall, and that's one thing that I keep forgetting to talk about is that the brothers are playing each other. And unfortunately, I think the Bears got the better Fuller on their roster from what we've seen, but he's still susceptible definitely to long speed. But I also think that he might be the guy that tries to muscle up on Sammy Watkins if he's not following. Would you go after him with the slants and the kind of power possession type passes?
Yeah, I think I would definitely try the slants on him. I feel like anything where you can get an in break, he's going to be a little bit slower to react to it because they do sit in like a man free or a cover 3 type zone, and so he's going to be shaded outside a little bit, which opens up that inside passing lane for you. But again, if you can get him to open up his hips and then cut in behind him, you've got it all day. So if you run a comeback or if you run like take a couple of steps on a post and then bust it back on an out, I think you can get those pretty good.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense. Now up front, I mean, we've seen what the Chiefs have struggled with. We talked about Reader earlier. It looks like Wisniewski's going to go in at left guard for Wiley, who hasn't practiced at all this week. Akeem Hicks is coming back. What do you see? Is that give and take? Is that a draw? Is it something the Chiefs have to be really wary of?
That's a good question. I'm not sure that – did Hicks play last week?
No.
No, he didn't. Okay. That would be why he didn't pop off the film.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's supposedly they're getting him back just in time for this game, and he's been pretty productive over the year.
Yeah. He's a good player from what I've heard. I haven't seen any film on him, so I can't really comment on what he's going to do. But if he's healthy enough to play and he's as good as he's been in the past, that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Well, I feel like they're going to attack with him because specifically Wisniewski's got experience, but they're going to try to say, oh, he's the new guy in the lineup and all that. And you're going to have Mack outside on Fisher. And I don't feel that badly about that matchup. Fisher's got some experience against him. What you've seen from Mack the last week, did pop for you?
No, I feel like there's something wrong with Mack. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's that his head's not in it because the Bears are not doing so hot this year, or if there's something physically wrong with him, but he just doesn't seem like the same player that he was last year.
Yeah, I noticed that when he's engaged from the last 2 weeks that I've looked at, and I've just looked briefly, he doesn't seem to have the extension that he used to have earlier in the season. He's always been a guy that's more power than speed. I think people overestimate his speed all the time. He's not Von Miller for people. But on the other side, there's Floyd, who's got a lot of length. And I think length is one thing that can sometimes give Mitch Schwartz a little bit of trouble. But how do you feel about that matchup?
I think Floyd's a really good player, too. I actually thought he was playing better than Mack in that last game. But they do some interesting things with Floyd. They like to use him on the twists. They've even used him to cover a tight end a time or two, and then running backs out of the backfield, which if you can get that matchup, you should take advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree. And lastly, without Roquan Smith in there anymore, Kevin Pierre-Louis played significant snaps the last couple of weeks. I think the Chiefs know what they had, what they face in him. Low crossers out to like 12 yards, whatever. It should be a field day for Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I even think if you can get Pierre-Louis matched up on a running back, you can have a field day with that one too. I think he's a fast player, but it seems like he doesn't process things as fast. So he's going to be slow to get to the route, and then you're going to be open, you're going to make the catch, and then he's going to have to make a play on you afterwards.
Right. He's got to recover quite a bit. We don't know about Mecole Hardman. Had a little bit of an injury. I know that he's gotten a lot of attention this week for a Pro Bowl punt returner, kick returner. How do you think they take advantage of him, or do you just let him do the kick thing, or do you sit him?
I think if he's healthy to go this game, this is the game that he's going to have a big return. Their kicker, he kind of seemed to, he was struggling to get it to the end zone for touchbacks on the kickoff, which will give you an opportunity to return it. I think Green Bay hit a big 45 or 50 yarder on him, and that guy didn't have the same speed that Mecole does. And if Mecole's running that, he's got the acceleration to get the corner, and he's gone. So I think if he can play, this is a good week for him to get some to earn his return specialist.
There you go. That's always a plus. All right. So end of the day, from what you've seen on film, how do you see this game going?
If the Chiefs are on their game and they play the way they're supposed to, I think that they win big. I don't think the Bears offense can keep up with them, but I think they're going to do some tricky stuff to try to make it interesting.
I certainly hope so, and I think this could be a really interesting game. I had it at 10 points, but I'm always a little shy somewhere there in the point differential. But you're going to have your review up on Chiefs Digest. What is it? Saturdays? Is that when it is?
It's either Saturday or Sunday morning. Usually.
Okay, cool. So, folks, make sure you hit Chiefs Digest for all Regan's work. He'll show you stuff and tell you stuff, and it's all there on Sunday. But I appreciate you taking the time tonight, and make sure it's the Regan84, folks, on Twitter. Get all of his stuff over there. Thanks for the time tonight, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Oh, yeah, good point. We won't have another one of these before Christmas, so happy holidays to all of you. Enjoy your time. Thanks for joining, Craig, and we'll talk to you next time.